Thanks for coming to our session today. Can see on the screen. Hopefully, you can all see my screen. Post into the chat if there's any difficulties, but um, you should see how the library supports your students, which is the title of our session today. So before I get into it, I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional owners and the custodianships on the land on which we meet today. So I'm on campus at St. Lucia, so that's on the unceded land of the Yagara and Turrbal peoples. So on behalf of everyone, I'd just like to pay our respects to their ancestors and the descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connections to country. And I'd just like to say we recognize their valuable contributions to Australian and global society. All right. So this is just a little preview of the sort of teams we're going to look at today in the library. So we've got a bunch of different teams across the library who do a bunch of different things. We've got three sort of represented in our presentation today. And I guess I'd just like to say, the library has a wide range of offerings to support students of all levels. So this session is going to focus on what's on offer from our digital learning team, our faculty services librarian team, and our technology training team. So you can see a little bit on there. I've added just a few kind of points of sort of broadly what these different teams sort of focus on. So today I'll be talking to what my team, the digital learning team, looks after and how we can offer support for teaching and students. But we'll also have Marcus, who's going to talk little bit about what's on offer from the faculty services librarians. And then Cameron, who's going to talk a little bit about what the technology training team in the library does. All right. So to kick off, I'm just going to talk a little bit about our AI Student Hub, which you might have already heard about. If not, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what it is. So I guess sort of a little bit of the history. The AI sort of in the last few years has sort of permeated throughout sort of everywhere society. But um, you know, in our context, higher education, I guess sort of the AI Student Hub was launched to sort of bring a lot of information together to help students sort of clearly know, how to use AI in their studies at UQ. Um, so I've got a little bit here. So sort of it goes over stuff like how to use AI in assessments. We've got examples on there of what is acceptable versus what's not acceptable. We've got a lot of information and linking out to acknowledging and referencing AI content. So this looks at how students should acknowledge AI tools in their coursework. And then we've also got stuff on learning and sort of practicing using AI in a responsible way. So we've got stuff on there sort of helping with prompting, sort of information on ethical use of AI. And sort of, we link out to a bunch of different places about where to find different tools and training and information on using AI in studies. So the AI Student Hub, as sort of with every kind of you know page or source of AI guidance, is constantly being updated. So I guess our team is currently making some updates to the AI Student Hub. Many have already gone live. There's probably a few more to come as well. Um, but just a few areas that we're focusing on with these updates. So we've updated it based on some staff and student feedback that we've gotten. Um, we're refreshing it to provide more examples and clarity for using AI in study. So I guess that was sort of a theme, is sort of providing more specific guidance on using AI in study. We've got more information on ethics and evaluation of AI. So we've added some new content highlighting the ethical implications of AI, at a kind of broader level, and also promoting sort of critical evaluation and verification of AI generated content in general that, you might see online or encounter. And we've also done some updates to our acknowledging and referencing AI content. So this is we've updated referencing advice on AI for better clarity, and there's a few more examples on acknowledging and referencing AI use. So I'm just leaving this slide up probably for a couple of seconds in case you'd like to visit the AI Student Hub. You can kind of see on the main page the updates section. But yeah, definitely give it a look. And yeah, feel free to send it out to students, sort of as like a kind of first point of call check on, if, you know, there's questions on using AI responsibly in study. So secondly, our team, the digital learning team, sort of looks after the LinkedIn learning platform. Um, so I guess a little bit about LinkedIn Learning. It's a free to use for all UQ students, but also staff. So that sort of gives you access to these short, sometimes actually long self-paced courses. And the topics range across software, creative, and different workplace skills as well. Um, so you don't need a LinkedIn account to actually use LinkedIn Learning. So it actually logs in with the single sign-on with UQ. But there is options to link your personal LinkedIn account if you choose to, which does give you some better personalization and recommendations based on what's on your personal LinkedIn account. And I guess thirdly, I'd also like to highlight it's very easy to use in teaching. So you can easily go into the platform, you can share a link to a whole module or just kind of a small segment of a module if you just want to look at something really bespoke. You can it's very flexible with what you can link into Blackboard. Um, and then, you can use it to give students the opportunity to build or kind of brush up on skills that you might be using in the course. And I'd also just like to promote on this page. We've actually, at the end of last year, just released a new guide on LinkedIn Learning. So that's there. That goes over sort of all the different content you can kind of find on LinkedIn Learning. It also gives a bit of guidance on using the platform, as well as the AI features like the AI coaching that's built in. So check that out if you're curious on using LinkedIn Learning. All right. Um, so I might not have too much time to do a demo of LinkedIn Learning today, but just I'd just like to highlight, we'll send these slides out, but if you just follow this web page, this will take you to our LinkedIn Learning web page on the library website, which offers a direct link to LinkedIn Learning, but also there's a button on this page that can kind of link you to advice on embedding LinkedIn Learning content into Blackboard. So definitely check that out. Um, and I guess, when you're on the platform, there is a lot of content on there. I guess the example here we put is Excel basics. I'd just like to shout out sort of further on in our technology training section. We do also from the library offer sort of courses on software like Excel. So if you're looking for more of that direct classes to refer your students to, where you can kind of have that one-on-one with sort of our library experts in a platform or programming language. We'll sort of go over that in a little bit in Cameron's section too. So that is available from the library. All right. So now I'm going to go over the Talus reading list. So our team also looks after the Talus reading list system, which is the university's reading list system, which automatically integrates into LearnUQ or Blackboard. Um, so I guess I'd just like to kind of go over sort of why sort of Talus reading lists are important here. Um, so sort of, you know, without a reading list, you're kind of responsible for, checking for those broken or dead links. We might lose access to a subscription from the library or change proxy provider, and the links that you've put into your Blackboard might become out of date, linked to sort of paywalls or linked to, errors. Um, I guess, that can lead to sort of students emailing or connecting with you about asking, where do I find this content? What is this content? Stuff like that. Um, so I guess the advantage of sort of doing your content or putting it into a reading list is you sort of get that, everything's accessible from the reading list, which is accessible in Blackboard as well. Um, and I guess, you don't really have to worry about those broken or dead links because our team will go ahead and check every time you publish a list that the links are working, they're going to where they're meant to go. Um, there's not errors or different proxies getting used. You'll have that kind of clear structure to the list where you have, required items. You can have required and copy needed, which sort of promotes, you know, you're telling your students that this is sort of, you'll need your own copy of this to have. And I guess overall that sort of lessens the time, you spend setting up, checking your own content, and less of the time students might have finding or chasing up where a resource is. Oh, thanks, David. Um, So I guess in this one slide, I'm just highlighting a few of the new features in TELUS Aspire. We're currently going through the TELUS Engage pilot. So this sort of adds a bit of a community slash annotation element to your reading list. So essentially with some types of resources, you can sort of upload directly, PDFs or images, different types of files. And then, students who access these can kind of highlight key parts. They could do community comments on there or, personal notes directly on the resource. Um, and it sort of gives, a bit of community functionality, but also a bit of, personal annotation um, functionality that you can, access directly from the reading list. Um, so I think I talked a little bit about these before, but I'm sort of just promoting what we do when your list is published. So these are sort of things that you won't have to worry about if you publish a list. So we check for access, make sure there's no dead links. We do copyright checks, so we sort of check that everything is, available to students in a copyright compliant way. We do resourcing slash purchasing of resources. If you've got a new book that you'd like the library to provide access for, we look into that and find the best access avenues possible to us. Um, and then we also, if you request stuff like chapters, we can do high quality scannings for those as well. Um, so again, I probably don't have time for the demo here, but I guess when I send out the slides, there will be provided here. I guess I'd just like to talk to sort of the ease of publishing the list. So it only really takes very short amount of time if you've got a list that's already kind of populated. So for a lot of courses that have been here a while, there'll already be a list with items on there. You can just sort of check over those, maybe make a couple of additions, removals, and then click on publish. If you're starting a new course, you might have to spend a bit more time on it. But the system is pretty intuitive. So just like to promote here, when you do make changes on your reading list, be sure to publish them because that's students only see the changes you make once it's published. So just a bit of information on here on support and who to contact. So, you can sort of contact our librarians if you need some help with training for using TALIS. There's our team or learning resources if you need stuff like scans and resourcing help. All right. And finally, I'm just going to talk a little bit about our digital learning hub. Um, so I guess if you haven't heard of the Digital Learning Hub before, I guess to sort of set the scene, us in the library, we create a ton of digital content, including, online modules. We've got guides, videos, interactive content. We've got press books, all to help students with stuff like referencing, assignments, building digital skills and capabilities, a range of different stuff. So I guess the Digital Learning Hub came about as sort of a way to bring that all together into, one kind of searchable place. So this sort of gives everyone the opportunity to find resources that, we've kind of created in the library. So it gives you, you can search for different modules, videos, guides, stuff like that, library guides. Um, you can, there's a lot of different filters there available, by topic, audience, subject as well, graduate attributes. And then I guess also importantly, there's, guidance on every resource, because there are different types of resources on, how you can add or embed it into your Blackboard site. Um, so this slide is just sort of a little bit of a guide on embedding content from Digital Learning Hub into Blackboard. So I'll kind of leave it as a slide and won't talk to it much, but when these get sent out, that is available to you to have a look at. All right. So I guess that concludes my section of the presentation. So I guess now I'd just like to hand it over to Marcos, who's going to talk a little bit about what the faculty service librarians are doing.
Thank you. Thank you, Kaya. You can hear me okay?
Yep, gotcha.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't have any control over the slides. Could I go to the next one? The first one, please. Yeah. Okay. So this is actually the library homepage. And it is difficult to say what what can I do for you, because there is just so much. There's so much. And it all is sort of it all comes from this page. And this page, looking at it, I just want to draw a distinction between the two searches we have on this page. The big search with the white bar under the big library thing, that is basically a catalog search, and that finds everything that we hold. Up the top, you'll see another search, which is there with a magnifying glass. Now, the difference between the two, the bottom one, which is the catalog, it's the books, it's the journals, it's our collection. But the top one is the things we've created. The things we've created, like the subject guides, the referencing guides, the links to LinkedIn Learning. All of those things can be found from this page, and you just need to search for them from the top search. So that was just why I wanted to show you this page. As a librarian, I guess the thing that librarians have been doing probably ever since the 3rd century BC, the first library in Assyria, is showing people how to find information, and I think that's still the most important thing that we do. Yep, next. Okay, and this is this is my wonderfully artistic representation of different kinds of searching. Now, all of the dots represent a piece of literature that is found. Now, the red ones represent pieces of literature that you want, the sort of things that you're looking for. And so the stuff within the inner circle, we'll see there are a lot more red things there. They can be found by a very specific search, the sort of thing that we would do in a Google search, or even in a library search, the basic library search. That's the specific search in that middle circle, oval. However, sometimes we need to find the red dots that are in the outer circles. And what we need to do for that is we need a very sensitive search. And there are many kinds of searches that we do where we need to find all the evidence for a given question. And this just represents what we're looking for. If you're just doing a search where you just want to find a few things to talk about, or you just want to answer a question, the inner circle will be fine. But if you need to find everything, well, then you need the skills to find the red dots that are on the outer circle. Next. Okay, so these are some of the classes that we run. First of all, we run a more than books class, which explains what the library is all about, navigation of the library webpage, and that will show us, okay, what are some databases we have? How do we find the full text of an article we already know about? So it's good to help us to find things that we already know about. How do we find databases, subject guides, referencing guides? All of these things become really important, but they're all there on the library webpage. So the first level of education we give people about the library site is that one. Not only that, but we like to tell people, particularly students, about the spaces that we have. If they want somewhere that they can come to prepare a presentation, they can use a room like I'm sitting in at the moment. Uh, it's not like, and I compare it to when I was a student way back in the 80s, where you walked into a library and you were silent and you were surrounded by books and you went to find one. And if you said anything, a librarian would go, shh. I think it was that sort of power that attracted me towards becoming a librarian. But it's very different now. Now, the next one, finding articles for your assignments. And for that one, we want to say, okay, how do you choose a particular database to go for a particular question? Should we use a database? Is a journal article what we want? Or do we go with a book? Or maybe they're online. Maybe there's web pages that will cover what we want. So finding articles for your assignments helps them to make a decision about, okay, no, what we want is more likely to be in a book. So I want to find a book. Or no, it's a journal article. I want to find the latest. What database can we use? Next level is advanced searching. Okay, when we've got a database, how do we best use the qualities of that database? Does the database have qualities that help us to create a really sensitive search to find everything? Everything, in theory, everything. Everything that gives us all of the evidence to answer a specific question. And then just taking that a little bit further, doing systematic reviews. We have a few classes about doing systematic reviews, which starts with a systematic search, which is how do you find everything? You need to be systematic when you want to find all the evidence. And then there are lots and lots of other procedures that you go through to get a systematic review happening. It's really rigorous and it's prescribed. So there are things you have to do and there are tools you need to use to do it. And we can show people how to use those tools. I actually spend most of my time doing systematic reviews. So it's kind of what I do. Okay, next. Another thing that we've been doing a lot of lately, and I think it's something that I think everybody's been doing a lot of lately, is working with AI. AI, I don't think you can run from it anymore. It's here and it's nesting. And we want to make it work for us, not be afraid of it. So we have 4 levels of classes. We have Gen AI Tools Overview, which a librarian would do with someone like Cameron, who's going to be talking to you soon, who is the technical expert, who has the IT nous to make things work. So we look at what they can do. What is it possible to do with AI? What's new? Those sorts of things. It's basically an introduction to look at, okay, it's not just ChatGPT. There are other things out there. The next level is mastering prompt engineering. Now, this is where critical thinking meets AI. When we're thinking about, okay, I have a specific question to ask AI, and to get the best answers out of AI, you need to back it into a corner with a really specific question. And you need to think about how you're going to put it together. You give it a role. You say, this is the level that I want. You can even say to it, if you don't know, say you don't know. Because these LLMs are people pleasers, and they want to help you. They want to say how wonderful you are, and they want to give you information. And wanting to do that makes them hallucinate from time to time. I have spent a good amount of time trying to find papers that they have made up, saying, yeah, here's a paper, this covers it, but it's not real. And there are many, many answers that it gives you that are not right either. So, as wonderful as AI is, it still needs a human eye on it, no matter what. No matter what. I started by asking a question that I knew the answer to, and it was, which left arm Australian spin bowler has the most test wickets? And it gets it wrong. It gets it wrong. And I know the answer, and it gets it wrong no matter which one you use. So if you know that it's wrong, you wouldn't use it. But most people wouldn't know that it's wrong. So uh, always needs a human eye. Okay, now the next one becomes even more interesting. Leveraging AI for literature searching. Now, there are two ways that this can happen. And the first is you use what has been ingested into an LLM and you send your question into that large language model. Now, then it all depends on what has been ingested by that large language model. And when I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking about doing a systematic review, the whole thing about what we do with the systematic review is transparency. Anybody should be able to look at what we've done and be able to do it themselves. They should be able to replicate. But it's impossible to do with this sort of opacity of the LLMs. You don't know what they've ingested. So as far as that goes, I don't think they're really ready for a big search. They can find things. They can find things to help you, but they're not going to find everything. Where they can help is they can help you to put together a search that you could put into a database. So I want to search PubMed. How do I make it do this? Now, just at the moment, AI can't do it as well as I can. But I think it's just a matter of time before AI can do that. And I think that's a far better way of using this. At least what you want to do with AI is say, okay, what other keywords would I want to use for this keyword? And I think it can do that. What it doesn't do very well, the very best databases have that they have terms like medical subject headings in PubMed, and it can't identify what those terms are at the moment. But you would think that that's coming at some point. But yeah, that's where it struggles. That's where I'm better than it. And the next one, how to use AI for your systematic review. It's the same sort of problems. However, the sort of bigger problem is we want to publish our review once we've done it, and many publishers are saying, no, you can't use AI. You can't use AI to do this because AI has the capacity to do things like screening in a systematic review. It can do that, but does it do it right? It seems that publishers don't think so, and they're not willing to accept it. Eventually, it will be able to do that. And all of these classes are going to change over time because AI is going to get better at what it does and things are going to change. But even if AI does get better, who's to say it's not going to get worse again? Because it's a totally changing environment and it couldn't go either way. Okay, so we do run all of those classes and yeah, we're happy to talk to people about those. Next. And then there's the ethics tied up with AI. And I, I've been reading lots of papers lately. Often when people are looking at lots and lots of literature, they're wondering whether they should only use literature that's in English. And they say, well, AI can translate papers from another language into English. Maybe I should do that. And I've read lots of papers that say, yes, these translators are working really, really well now. And you can almost trust them, almost. Uh, but then you think, well, okay, it's great, and these papers that I'm reading are saying that they're great, but no one's looking at the ethical implications here. Every time you put a paper into an AI model, it may well be being ingested, and if that paper has come from behind a paywall, you're probably breaching copyright or licensing rules. None of these were mentioned in any of the papers that I read about this. And I think the library is going to have a role as sort of a moral compass when it comes to AI and research. Okay, next. And of course, there's EndNote, and EndNote is wonderful. Before COVID, we used to run lots and lots of classes on EndNote, and they were amongst our best attended classes. But like lots of things, because we were all locked away during COVID, we made a lot of modules in every area available so people could learn online and didn't have to be on campus. EndNote was one of those things. We created lots of modules about it, and it made it easier and quicker for people to learn online. However, there's a lot of people who don't want to learn online. When we got back from being locked off campus, I said, why don't we do one face-to-face EndNote class and just see what happens? And it was absolutely teeming. Lots of people wanted to come because they just wanted to talk about things face-to-face. So there's certainly a place for that. We incorporate lots of information about EndNote into classes that we embed in courses around the place. And EndNote is just so useful. I think about a thesis I wrote way back in the 80s and 90s, and it had 247 references in it. And it took me 3 days on a typewriter to get the reference list right. And they were quite possibly the worst 3 days of my life. But EndNote is certainly something that we are keen to show students about, particularly postgraduate students when they're starting to do theses, when they're starting to do systematic reviews. EndNote has a different role than it does for mainly students who are using it for its bibliographic function. But EndNote is such a wonderful thing. If only they could make it work effectively in an online environment. It's still, to avoid corruption, needs to work on a hard drive, not on a virtual drive, which really is silly in 2026. But it's kind of what we have. Next. Okay, and we're available to answer questions. You can book a consultation with a librarian to talk about, well, any of the things that we do. And like I said, we do lots and lots of things. But anything that you need help with, you can book a consultation through Student Hub, or you can email librarians at library. And there is a page there where we put down our training classes, and you can come along and join those. We do have training classes that either are online or in person. Just as our consultations, you can have either an online or an in-person consultation. And, we're very happy to see you. So we are accessible, and we want to help people. And, we've been doing it for, 3,000 years now as librarians. So, and I think that might be it for me. Next. Aha. And next, I'll hand over to Cameron. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I've turned my camera on, but for some reason it's decided that today is not the day that it's going to show, but that's all right. what I'll do is we'll continue on from those same slides, but obviously I'll share them with everyone. So I'm one of the UQ Library technology trainers. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having all of us from the library. And I just want to briefly give you an overview of what we can offer you, what we offer students. The main way that we can help is with there are three main things we facilitate. So the first are consultations. We are happy to offer individual software support. We tend to get a lot of demand from HDR students and early career researchers with this stream. So we're happy to help you with particularly kind of Python or R or other technology needs. Just shoot us an email. So you see our email there, training@library.uq.edu.au. We'll meet with you for free, some consultations. We're not going to necessarily do your analysis for you, but we're there to help you learn the tools. So yeah, if you've got any questions or any needs, then feel free to reach out to us. I'd like to just flag that if you're supervising any students, so we may or may not have some, I'm not sure exactly whether we've got any academics here who might be supervising PhD students. If we do, you're welcome to pass this on to your students as well, because they're welcome to reach out to us. The bulk of our work is training that we deliver. This is in person and online. I'll go through some of the offerings in a moment. And we also facilitate communities of practice. These are group gatherings of Python and R users that we meet to troubleshoot problems. It's a drop-in monthly help session, but also a bit of a networking opportunity. So in terms of what we actually support, in terms of software, you'll see at the top of this list, we've got programming and data analysis. This is the bulk of what we support and the bulk of the questions we get. R and Python and QGIS are our main softwares that we offer support for, and they're the ones we run the most training for, including in vivo as well. And we're also happy to help set people up with Git and GitHub. We have in the past offered Qualtrics support, given that the current licensing is pretty limited. We don't get a whole lot of queries for this. The other big focus is on the Microsoft suite. So for anyone who's starting a thesis, this is a great opportunity to come along to our kind of Word courses, because we help set people up with Microsoft Word. It's more advanced features which are useful for large documents, particularly styling, dealing with referencing, that sort of thing. Well, we don't necessarily go into the referencing help. We do help people set up their Word document for their thesis. And there's other software as well. We don't currently do too much with Adobe, but if you do have questions or desires, reach out, because we tend to tailor our offerings based on demand as well. So we're very flexible. Just going into those tools a little more, we try to steer people towards open source data and analytics tools, primarily because, particularly for HDR students and anyone who's not necessarily going to stay within big institutions for the rest of their careers, they may lose access. You may lose access to quite expensive software, such as something like a MATLAB package. And if you learn with these tools, and we're happy to support anyone with any software that UQ supports, it's not a problem. But if you do learn using these tools, you tend to have a bit more of a versatile toolkit under your belt, and you're able to share it with other people. It's just a little more collaborative. So we do encourage people to go towards these tools, and it's something we support, but just wanted to note that in there. Our training follows two major formats. The first being intensives. These are full 3-day programs that we run twice a year. We only do them in person. We're currently coming to the end of our summer series for R, Python, and QGIS. For those of you who don't know QGIS, I should have flagged this before. This is a graphic information system. So it's for making maps, essentially. And these intensives include content sessions along with self-directed projects. So they're 3 intense days. We run them twice a year. The next lot will be in July. So keep an eye out for them. Typically, they're booked up very quickly. We have capacity for about 60 people in each. And the summer ones were booked out 2 months in advance. So do keep an eye out for those. We'll email these out to everyone. In addition, we run weekly series. So this is the bulk of our training. They're usually about 2-hour workshops over multiple, often 4 to 5 week blocks, sometimes in person, sometimes online. We try to alternate. We tend to run the Python, Office, and in Vivo software back to back, but we do offer other infrequent training. And so I'll just draw your attention to our training page. You'll get the links in the chat. If you just Google UQ Library Training, you'll be able to land on these resources. And we also have online resources, which you're seeing here. So this is all the content for our training sessions. You're welcome to use this content and learn from it. If you want to learn Python, you can't make our sessions. You can go through our materials, and these are all online guides on how to use the tools. We've got QGIS. We've got also our Office suite. Some of them are in PDF format, so if you go to the Word one, you'll be able to download the manual, that sort of thing. I'll just flag if we go to the home page, you can see that, so we've got these manuals here. You're welcome to learn from them. And we're aware this is ready to teach week, right? And so for anyone who's interested in potentially using these materials or directing students to these materials, you're more than welcome to freely remix and reuse these materials for your own purposes. You don't need our permission to do that. We've made it pretty open source. If you do use it though, we would ask that you kind of reference this site so that we can know who's using it, or people who want to learn more can come and get the original materials. And if you do want to use it, we'd love to hear about it. We're very flexible. We'd love to collaborate with you. You're welcome to just take it and do what you like with it, but we would like to hear about it, because then we can collaborate with you and potentially design things for you if there's materials that you haven't quite got the designs for. So thanks, Kaya, for sharing those links around. Just flagging those training intensives, we've also got a website for those, and you can see we're currently at the end of our QGIS one. For anyone who's curious as to what that looks like, we've got a bunch of sessions and the project, and on the project gallery, you can see the work that people have put together. So these are the projects that just this week, the participants have been created from scratch. And just to go into some random ones, you can see people have made, this is kind of a map that someone has made after a 3-day intense content and project-based session. So the quality is we were quite impressed by how good these projects can get and what you can learn in a 3-day session. So this is the kind of thing you can learn to do in our QGIS ones, in the Python intensives. Well, if we go to the gallery and we filter for Python, you can see some of the visualizations. If we go to the R ones, you can see some of the visualizations that people are producing, the code that they're producing. We've got interactive and static visualization. So lots of analysis, lots of tools there. And just to flag, if you like bespoke sessions, so we do teach we're happy to teach into a course if someone has they want us to teach an introduction to Python for their specific area, we're happy to arrange that for you. If you'd like us to run a session for your school, we're happy to arrange that for you as well. So let us know. Bespoke sessions, we're here to help, we're here to deliver that, and we're here to train. Just an overview of what these series look like. So for R, it's 5 weeks. You can see we've got a focus on data and data visualization. That's our emphasis. Python is similar, data and visualization. It's a bit different to normal Python guides. So you might find often online a normal Python introduction takes you through more programming focused things. We tend to focus on the data. That tends to be the audience who needs us. But again, we're happy to be flexible and teach things that people need. GIS for making maps I've spoken about already. Microsoft Suite, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. So we've got a lot of sessions on offer. And finally, these communities of practice. So they're the last Thursday of the month, 10 a.m. And the first Thursday of the month for Python and R respectively. Well, the other way around, sorry. And these are about an hour to 1 to 2 hours. They have a brief presentation, and it's mostly just a drop-in help session and an opportunity to meet other researchers. As I said, we've got these online resources. These links are here for your benefit after the session. So when you get the slides, you can go through them. And so just want to flag that these are the 3 things we offer: consultations, training, communities of practice. Shoot us an email. You can sign up to our training. Staff and students, anyone's welcome. And you can also come along to our communities of practice. Just going back to the web for a moment, if you just search UQ Library Training, and you go to our training and workshops page, you can visit our training calendar, and this will show you a calendar of upcoming training. So we've got some R training some Python training, the R user group. That's what we've currently got scheduled, and we'll schedule some more office training as well in the coming weeks. Otherwise, thanks everyone for hearing about my brief segment. This is what we do in the training team. Does anyone have any questions? And thanks to Kaya and Marcos as well. Does anyone have any questions from any of the things we've delivered thus far, or anything else we can offer? Very good. Well, feel free to email us, any of us, if you do have any further questions or would like to collaborate at all. We are very open and enjoy collaborating with various parts of the university. The nice thing about being in the library is that we're a bit of a focal point, a bit of a hub, so you can also connect with other people in other schools you might not have been aware of or using the same tools. And so you can contact us. These are our 3 contact links. So the librarians, the technology trainers, and the digital learning team.
Thanks.
Otherwise, I think that's everything.
I see. Thanks, Cameron and Kaya, and sorry, I missed the other person. Yes, we love a good collaboration. Just in the interest of feedback for us, if we're just going to release a poll, if you've got a bit of time to complete that, that would be good. Bit of feedback is always very, very useful as we lead into almost the end of Ready to Teach Week. But thank you very much to the librarians, technology trainers, and I missed the learning designers, I think.
Sorry, digital learning.
Always digital learning.
learning.
Yes,
Yeah.
digital learning. Thank you. It's absolutely amazing. I always every time people come on, I go, oh my goodness, you've added another thing, or you've kind of expanded. So yeah, it's good to hear all the new things, and also the things that you've been doing for a very, very long time. I went to that EndNote training, I might add, when it was still in the room. So thanks a lot, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks so much, Karen. And thanks
Thank you.
everyone for coming.
Thank you.